Hi, Barb.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, we're Barb and Cynthia from River City Yarns in Edmonton, Alberta. Mm-hmm. And once a month, we like to join you and just chat about what it's like to be in a yarn shop and the stuff that we're doing as part of our yarn shop and our knitting community.
Events
here.
that we're having and things that we're doing, things that we're making, things that we've had made, things that we can show you about our store.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of some instructional stuff too. So today we're going to be talking all about felting. Right. And so we're going to show you a little bit of the felting process as well. So that's kind of fun.
So let's start with that, Cynthia. Let's talk about felt. Because I mean, really, it's wool, right?
It is wool. Yeah.
It all starts out with wool and wool fiber, and felting is all about the process of taking that and shrinking it.
Yeah.
With heat and with agitation, and with water.
So today we're mostly going to be talking about knitting something,
right,
and then felting it after it's been knit. And there are other ways to felt, but this is what we're going to focus on today.
Yeah.
And so the magic behind felting is that wool has scales on it. It looks, it's exaggerating to say it looks like a pine cone, but if you imagine, the scales on a pine cone, if you look at a wool fiber under a microscope, that's a little bit of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And so you're right, when you put it through, when you add hot water and some detergent or cleanser and lots of rubbing and agitation, then those scales lock together. And
not cleanser though, right? When I think of cleanser, I think of Dutch cleanser.
Right, not cleanser.
You mean
detergent.
You mean detergent.
You want something that's slippery, that allows the fibers to kind of slide around next to each other.
So that they can stick to each other.
Yeah. And so when those scales lock together, they lock together permanently.
Yes.
Which is why some people are really sad, right?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you remember, what was the first experience that you had with felting?
Oh, I knit this beautiful hat for my daughter, Sarah.
Yeah.
The Anna bandana hat
from Handmade.
And it's so beautiful yarn,
cashmere.
Gorgeous. Yeah. And somebody, I don't know if it was Sarah or my husband, but somebody put it in the washing machine with the laundry, and it ended up being like a tiny little cap. And I've had the intention of re-knitting that. I got a kit, I've got the pattern. It's just, And of course, that was like 12 years ago, maybe.
Wow.
How about you? Do you have a...
I do. I remember buying yarn from... having it shipped here from New Zealand, merino wool, and making Dad a sweater. I made him a beautiful sweater. It was all color work, and Mom went and threw it in the washing machine.
No way.
I know. I was wondering, why did she do that? No, I know it was a mistake.
Family dynamics, eh?
But it was, sad.
Sad, yeah.
All those hours.
We all have stories like that. And maybe we'll come back to that afterwards. Maybe what we'll have to do at the end of this podcast is give out prizes to people with stories. Felting stories, good and bad. But so I mean, there are things you can do with that, with that fabric.
If I would have known that then, I could have made it into a handbag or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But back then, I think he just thought, oh gosh, it's ruined, but it's amazing how long that memory lasts.
Yes. So the good news is that now we know if you do accidentally felt something, you can do other things with it. You can cut it.
Yes.
You can cut it with scissors. You can sew it with a sewing needle, and you can create other things.
Yeah.
Like this. So that's a good opportunity to talk about the iPad cover that you've got here.
Sure. In your bag. Yeah. We last year in my travels, I found a company in Nova Scotia called Fibers of Life, and they make things out of felted wool. And so we've got a number of things. Cynthia's holding their tote bag.
This is my project bag. Yeah. And deep down in here, I also have a little notions kit.
Aren't those cute?
I know. I love the saturated colors in here.
So these are made in, I want to say India or Nepal. Made in Nepal, sorry. And they're made there by a company that has the whole fair trade thing going on. So they give everybody a really good wage and they support a community, and it helps these people have income. And these are felted. There's a great video too. If you go to their website, you can watch how these are made. And these are wool that's felted and then cut and sewn into different shapes.
And the wool felt is so thick. Mm-hmm. And it just, again, like I love this bag because if I'm, in a cold place, I just put it on my lap and it warms it's like a cozy pillow. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the bag was empty and I was, at the football stadium or at the skating rink, I could take it out and I could use it as a chair pad.
That's right.
Yeah, because wool is so insulating.
Right, yeah. Especially a baseball game or something, right? Where those seats are metal and cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a little iPad cover. And the company, the lady that brings them into Canada has this screening company too. So she makes panels and things. Cynthia's bag has a panel on it. And you can get others. So they're really versatile. You can change up the look just by putting on a different panel. She silk screens these, or I'm not exactly sure how she does it, but...
And then there's just little buttons on the side that you can button on your new one.
Here's one with a ball of yarn and needles. Yeah, so they're kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And I have the iPad case. I love this case.
Yeah, the Velcro on there is nice and strong.
I just picked this up. And so it's just a sleeve, right? It's just felted material, silk screened on it. Yeah. This one isn't replaceable or interchangeable, but we've got a bunch of different patterns that you can choose from, and they hold an iPad perfectly. So.
iPad or tablet. So if you're not an Apple user,
right?
We don't discriminate. Well, not a whole lot anyway. I do love Apple.
Yeah, so that's all about that.
Yeah, I can't say enough about this company and this bag. I really like it. And we've got a whole wall full of them. Now, we don't put this on our online store.
No.
So if you wanted one, just give us a call and we can send you some pictures and show you what's available.
We can go video shopping with you. Yeah. We're getting really good at that. The reason why we bring these in too, not only for the fact that they're fair trade and they provide a living for people in Nepal, but we also bring them in because these are tough to make. If you were to make this bag, you would probably use many, many balls of yarn. You have to knit it like about 3 times larger in order to get it to shrink to that. And it's a little difficult in a traditional washing machine.
Right.
Whereas these folks have got the process set out right for making larger sheets of felt.
Yeah. But we are going to talk about making felted bags as well, right?
We sure are.
So you can. Yeah. All right, well, I'll hang this up on the back of my chair here. And so why don't we segue right into that? You've got a new workshop that's we're running a class in February and a class in March, and it's a felted tote.
Sure, and the reason why we're having a workshop on it is because I just was going to make this for myself, but I brought it in the shop and everybody wanted to make one. So we quickly wrote up a pattern.
Yeah, right? You quickly wrote up a pattern.
Yeah, well, you helped me with it. And so now we've got something that we can put in our workshop. So I had this bag as a work in progress for probably 2 years. And I had it 3/4 of the way done and never finished it off.
Yeah.
And this is the yarn that we've been using.
Now, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is Kauni.
So Kauni comes from
Denmark.
And it's woolly wool. It's real rustic. And people knit sweaters out of it that are amazing because of the long color transition.
Yeah.
So if you took a look inside this ball, you would see blue and green and purple.
Right. This is their kind of famous rainbow colorway, or EQ as they call it.
That's right. They call it letters.
Yeah. And there's all the colors of the rainbow in here. And again, I think it's really important people know that there's the dye repeat on here is long enough that you can get a stripe if you go around a cardigan. So even if you're knitting a cardigan and you've got 40 inches worth of stitches, you're still going to get really nice long stripes on it. And then the stripes are gradient. So the colors bleed from one color transition into the next.
Very slowly too. As I was working with it, when I did this bag, I held 2 colors together. So I pulled from the inside of the ball where the blue was, and I pulled from the outside of the ball where the red was. So the bottom of the bag is blue and red. It's just a plain little checkerboard kind of pattern. It's not difficult. And I just knit little squares all the way around. And as I went up into the ball, the colors changed. So I went from red to orange to yellow to green. And on the other ball, it went from blue to purple to a deep red, then a lighter red. So they switched kind of on the opposite ends of the transition.
The foreground color and the background color are changing
all
at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're going from a light to a dark shade and a dark to a light shade. Mm-hmm.
So another way you could do this is by just using Kauni in solids. We carry them in solids too. I think a black and white one would be really nice.
He's very nice. Yep.
Yeah. So look for this pattern. It's coming out soon. The handles are made by our friends at Brick Bubble. Diane made these, and these are a leather handle with a little teardrop or round oval shape on this side, and then just a little oval piece on the other side.
Nice.
And she's pierced holes in them so that you can sew the piece to the back to the front, sort of, and encase your wool fabric in between. And it's so sturdy. These hold so much.
So the felt fabric is sturdy and the leather handles are sturdy. And it's just nice that she's given you those inserts on the inside so you don't have any messy back stitching.
Yeah,
there.
or any inside to show. It's very clean.
That's very nice.
Yeah. And this shape, this is the way it came out. It started out really square. But as you felt, this is the magic of felt, right?
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah.
And then every yarn that you use is slightly different too, right?
Exactly, yeah.
This is sort of a fingering weight that I held, that I colored. I was doing stranded, so it had 2 strands.
Right.
And the bottom's double stranded. But I think every yarn that you use is going to felt a little bit differently. This is where you have to kind of test and try it out.
Right. When I brought in a pair of mittens as well that are knit in a yarn very similar to this. It wasn't a striping yarn, it was a solid yarn. So it took me a long time to make these mittens.
And are those felted?
Yeah, well, so when I made them, they were too big.
Right.
And I'd put so much work into them, I was really sad and disappointed. So I folded them a little bit.
Okay, so there's a difference. There's 2 terms here. There's felting and fulling.
Yeah, which means I felted them slightly because I just wanted to shrink them up a little bit. And this was some early work in stranded colorwork. So the colors they don't pop the way they would have if I had known better.
But you can still see the individual stitches in here.
Exactly.
Right? Which is the difference, I would say, between felting and fulling.
Correct. Yeah. So it makes the mittens a little bit softer. It makes them a little bit denser because you get some of that felting action. So they're a little bit
they're certainly
thicker.
Warmer, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. And I still have a functional pair of mittens.
And a pretty pattern that you can still see.
Yeah, this is a Beth Brown Reinsel pattern.
It's really nice.
This is from a long, long time ago. So when you do that stranded color work, you create something that's going to last a long time too, like your handbag.
If you were to felt that more though, you might lose some of that detail.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas with this, because the squares are pretty big.
Yeah. And geometric.
Yeah. You still have the idea of the pattern.
That's right, yeah.
What else have we got that we've felted?
Well, speaking of geometric squares.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about this?
Sure.
Okay. So on the table here, we'll just move these little guys off. On the table here, we have part of a project from one of our epic collections.
This is so much fun.
So this is a checkerboard. And this one's done by Intarsia. So instead of having stranded color work where you're, stranding the color not in use across the back, you're actually changing colors. And the cool thing about this is that you have to have a little ball of yarn for each time you change colors. So when you're knitting this across the back, maybe hold up this end for me. Yeah, you've got a little ball of yarn for this gray, and then one for the white, one for the black, one for the white, one for the black. So you got all this yarn hanging down the back, kind of like hair. And you just change it across the back. But the difference is that you don't have any stranding, so you have a nice, neat back.
Holy, do you ever?
Yeah, and it's just one layer instead of two. And then when we designed this one, we had to design the squares so that they could be felted. So when you knit this one, your squares are actually not square, they're rectangular, because your shrinking will happen more this way than this way.
Right,
and
because
so
of
after
the size of a stitch,
yeah,
right? Height
exactly.
versus width.
Yep. And then I also found that we had to do some ribbing across the bottom because like with your bag, it didn't always felt the same way along the edges.
Right.
So all the sides are ribbed. And that way, when it goes to the washing machine, you don't end up with flaring on the edges.
The only way you found this out was to do several prototypes, right?
Oh, swatches and swatches and swatches. Yeah.
And this is sometimes what you have to do. That's why I think it's so nice to buy a pattern where somebody's done all that work for you.
For sure.
And you can just kind of piggyback on those trials and errors, because that's what it is, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so you have swatches that you do, and then you have to do the final sample, and then you have to write the instructions for how long to felt it.
How did you make the checkers?
Oh, these are this is kind of funny. I have this obsession with recycling my Keurig coffee pods. So I drink a lot of Starbucks coffee in the little coffee pods in my Keurig machine. And so afterwards, I peel off the metal tin and I dump out the coffee and I pull out the filter and I separate all the pieces. And in the bottom of the Starbucks ones, they have these little round discs. And I just thought, what could I use that for? I've got to save them. I could put them in the plastic recycling, but I just thought I would wrap some yarn around them and make little checkers.
It's just like the little inserts that you save from our till tape.
Yes.
We still have to find a use for the 152,000 that
goodness.
she's collected.
Well, again, could recycle them, but I just think, this would make a really good bobbin, right? But my husband just recently pulled out this Ziploc bag full of these little plastic discs, and he said, why are you collecting all these? And I said, well, now that I've started, I can't stop.
You should have said it could be worse. I could be collecting the coffee grounds that are inside, because those make great, mulch for plants in the summer.
Actually,
oh no,
actually, a long, long time ago, before I joined you at the store, I had a job with the federal government, and one of the things I did was research on vermiculture, which is recycling using worms.
Oh, now she's going to get into a whole other story.
So I had a Rubbermaid bucket under the sink in my kitchen where I put the coffee grounds into this dirt, and I had little red wigglers they loved coffee.
Ew.
They loved coffee. So
okay, that's too much for me. I can't take that.
It's composting, but it's composting in your house, and it was beautiful. But anyway,
bugs in your house?
Not bugs, worms. Worms. And if you do it right, there are no bugs. I know. So anyway, I have a bunch of these plastic things. That's what I use. But I also thought, what would be really fun and Canadian is if you just collected your toonies and loonies. And you could play, toonies versus loonies.
Sure.
Right? And
why not?
Why not? Or you can buy the little wooden checkerboard things.
I think, I was almost hooked on recycling.
Yes. For the little plastic.
Right up until the worm story.
Oh, I'm sorry. But listen,
I think this is a great idea. I'd love to recycle too.
Yeah, if you need some plastic discs, I can hook you up. I'm sure I have lots.
This would be great, portable too, right? Didn't you take this camping or?
Yeah, when we did this call out for designs with Epic, we called it the Cabin Collection. So the whole idea behind the design story was, cabinish, and I wanted to do something in Intarsia, and so I thought this would be fun.
Yeah.
So the idea was that here you could, let's say you want to go on a picnic, you don't have to go to the cabin. You just take a bottle of wine, roll it up in your checkerboard because that keeps it nice and cold.
Yeah.
Put it in your picnic basket and away you go. Or if you're at the football game.
This can be another chair pad.
Or if you're hiking and you want to sit down and It could be your little picnic.
You all want to make
blanket.
a checkerboard. Whether you turn it into a handbag or you have it as a game board.
Yeah.
You've got to try this. This is so much fun.
So we have a pattern for this one. It's
Right.
called King Me, and it's available on our website or on Ravelry. And then we should also talk about the blanket that's underneath it.
And the pattern for mine is coming, right?
Yeah. So right now it's a workshop pattern,
Right.
and we'll make sure we've got it tested and everything, and then we'll put it up on Ravelry, and we can put it up on our website as well.
Yeah, when it's ready to go. We'll let you know when that is.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too much longer because I think we like to hold a few workshops just to test the pattern out and get 5 or 6 or 10 people knitting it and then see how it works out.
It's a great test knit.
It's super.
Yeah,
That's
because
what we do all the time.
When you're taking a class, you are reading the pattern
line
by
for
line.
Okay, so let's chat about this one.
Yeah.
This is a lovely.
This is another one that's part of our cabin collection, and we've talked about this before, but we brought it out again because this is called the Lodge.
Right. This is the Lodge, and this pattern was designed by Holly Yo.
Yes. And so this is a log cabin modular knit, but we brought it out today because, again, we recommend in the pattern that you do a little bit of fulling on it. And that, again, that just makes the wool nice and soft and fuzzy.
A little more dense.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't take away the pattern. You can still see all the stitches in it.
Yeah. We'll put a close-up in here afterwards. Yeah, so the stitch definition is there. But it just gives it that warm and cozy feeling. And this one was fulled primarily in the dryer. So you can felt and full things in your washing machine, but if you want to have a little more control on it, you can take the damp blanket, put it in your dryer for 5 minutes, open the door, take it out, have a look.
Check on it every once in a while.
Put it back in, and you can felt it to the level that you want.
The thing about felting it and fulling is that, every wool's a little different. And so what might take one wool, 5 minutes to shrink, another one might take 25 minutes. And so really, stay away from blends and from anything superwash because they've treated that so that it doesn't felt, although sometimes it does, as we've discovered. But when you're using real wool, 100% wool, I oftentimes, Cynthia, too, think that colors sometimes felt differently.
Yes.
Do you concur with that?
I do. And we can show that example with the fuzzy foot socks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. We have another pattern that we sell a lot of, and it's such a nice piece. It's
down on the floor, actually, there. Okay. Yeah. Can you reach it?
It's done in our Epic yarn. We just brought a whole bucket of it.
Bring out the... Yeah, so we have a lot of fun with this pattern because Epic has these epic Canadian HBC inspired colors that
we
Barb
do
has
sweaters in it, blankets, slippers, everything has HBC colors in it.
Yeah, so this is the same felted slipper pattern that we're going to put in the Wonder Washer and wash up today. And so again, we'll put a close up here so you can see it. But the cream color hasn't felted as much as the yellow, the red, the green, and the navy have.
So you can feel it, sort of, right?
And I don't know why that is. I sometimes think that maybe dyed yarns have had just a little bit more processing than undyed yarns, and so they felt faster for that reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, some chemical reaction between the dye and the wool that just makes it more open
or
to
maybe
felting.
it's the lanolin in the natural wool.
Maybe,
the natural sheep might not shrink as quickly as something that's been processed or dyed a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so this one, these ones felted really nicely. And
Boy, did they ever.
We did up one of each size, so you could have like a family of felted slippers.
What size is this one? The little one?
This is the youth size, or the small size.
Okay.
And this is the medium size. This one fits most adult women really well. And men, too, if your foot is not exceptionally wide, men or women, this middle size fits really nicely. And then this one we call it the wide size. So if you have a high instep, if you have swollen ankles, if you just have a wider foot than normal, do the wide size. The The number of stitches is just slightly bigger in this one. And then the length of all the slippers, it doesn't matter how long your foot is. The length is just a factor of how long you knit.
You need to kind of take that into consideration, though, because if your foot is, say, a size 9 or 9 inches, you're going to want to knit your slipper bigger.
Right. So what we say in the pattern is that you knit the foot of the slipper until it's as long as your foot. And then you add on the toe.
Okay.
And that extra toe gives you the shrinkage room. Yeah.
That's a great great way to do it.
Yeah. It's sort of like a rule of thumb, but on your toe. A rule of toe.
Now, you could do different toppers too, right, on here?
Yeah. So the pattern has 3 different kinds of tops on it. You can do 2 rows, you could do 6 rows, you could do 8 rows.
So this is just kind of the ballet slipper or the...
This is the 6 row, the middle one. But if you wanted to do 4 rows, you could. So the difference between the number of rows is how much rollover you get. If you go with 8 rows, you can fold it over and create kind of a rolled cuff. The 6 rows doesn't quite give you that one. So this is the most sock-like. And then the 2 rows makes it a little bit easier if you just want to slip it on, almost like a clog. The 2 rows gives you that option.
Yeah. And these wear really well too, don't they?
Well, yeah. So again, this is the advantage of using Epic. It's a worsted weight, and in the pattern we recommend that you hold it double-stranded because it's not a chunky yarn.
Right.
If you use a chunky yarn, you use it single-stranded. The double-stranding means that you get a slightly stronger fabric than it would be if you used a thicker yarn single. So I like that because I think they last longer.
I do too.
Yeah.
I've even put a strand of sock yarn in with my 2 strands.
Sure.
You know, and that I made a pair like that for Mario, and they're still good, and he's worn them like years and years and years.
Right. So the sock yarn doesn't shrink, but the wool around it will just felt, and then it gives it that extra durability.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the only thing is sometimes these can be a little slippery on the floor, right?
Right. So there's 2 products that we sell to help with that. And one we sold yesterday, I think we might have sold the last one, so I have to reorder.
Okay.
It's called Sock Stop.
Right, yes.
And it's a product that you paint on the bottom, or you just put dabs on the bottom, and it's a little, and it adds a bit of like a non-marking latex product to the bottom.
I think that's what it is. I think it is latex.
Yeah. And then the other product we sell is also from Brick Bubble.
Right.
And they're little faux leather, what do you call them, soles?
Yes.
That you sew on. So there's a toe and a heel option, and that looks very classy on the bottom of slippers.
And I think that one is really the best because, you know, sometimes I think the latex can peel off a little bit, in my experience. Anyways.
Okay. I use the latex stuff on the grandkids' slippers, and it's pretty good. If you have like seed stitch or something like that where the surface isn't as flat, I think you're right. It may peel off, but I did one with we had these stencils with them too. Right.
Yes, and they were stars and moons and stuff, and it just that they started to peel off a little bit, lift up.
Okay.
But I like the idea of having those ultra suede or those faux leather soles.
Yeah.
And the ability to sew them right on because you again put the little holes in them.
And because it's faux leather, you can throw it through the washing machine.
Yeah.
So when you're laundering these afterwards, you want to launder them more carefully. So cold water, low agitation, lay flat to dry.
Yeah, maybe bring them out. I know we've got plastic bags stuffed inside ours right now, and that's what I do at home too. When I bring them out of the washer, I just shove plastic bags in them. And I stick mine over my heat vents in the house. You know, you've got the heat registers, and I just put them on top of there, and the next morning they're completely dry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The heat, it's like blow drying, slow speed blow drying.
Right. It's pretty dry here in Alberta too.
You can just leave it on your kitchen counter, and the moisture evaporates.
Pretty much.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So we have a pattern for that one as well. It's called Fuzzy Foot Socks. And that's available on our online store and on Ravelry as well. Yeah. All right. So Tell me about this beautiful display of felted things. Does this all come from your house?
No. But Cynthia, you know, one of the earliest memories that I have of felting in the store here was when we brought in Kat Bordhi.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know, Kat Bordhi, you guys, if you don't know who she is, you need to look her up. She's all over Ravelry. Her name is Kat Bordhi, Bordhi.
Correct.
We have known Kat for years and years, and she's the most sweet, gentle, kind person that I know.
And she's a mathematician.
She's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's a teacher. She's a designer. She's an instructor. We brought her here for to teach classes with us.
And she's an advocate for cancer research.
That most importantly, that's right. And so she's a cancer survivor. And Kat has created donation from some of her patterns. She has a pattern, I think it's her 8th book. It's called Felfs, or a family of Felfs. And what are Felfs? They're felted elf-like boots.
Yep.
But they're not just boots. They're boots, they're slippers, they're shoes, they're ballet slippers, they're cowboy boots. They're all sorts of different functions you can make and shapes that you can make just by sewing them up.
And if you want to teach somebody how to knit, this is a great book to buy.
Right.
Because the felfs are done flat. You knit a flat piece. It's done in garter stitch. And then you fold it and sew it up and put it in your washing machine.
It's like origami.
Yeah.
It's so cool the way that it folds up. Anyways, here's what you end up making. These
so cute.
are little mini baby felfs. They look like little elf booties. They kind of have a pointed toe. And then you throw them in the machine and you felt them. So when we had Kat here, she did these, right?
Yep.
And then we went to another workshop. We followed her all over
I think
North
actually,
America.
We did a felfs workshop with Kat when we went to TNNA one year, which is the National Needlework Association. It's like a trade show for retailers. And she did the workshop there, and we took it with her.
And didn't we do it again when we were in Gibson's Landing? Like, wasn't that in BC? We took a workshop.
Not on felfs, I don't think. But after the TNNA workshop, we brought Kat to Edmonton.
Right.
And she brought her pal Jim with her.
Yes.
And we did a felfs workshop with her here in Edmonton. And then we did some felfs workshops after that.
On our own.
Because so the book that she's done is only available as an ebook. You can't get a print copy of it. And I think the entire proceeds from the sale of that book go to a research foundation.
Dr. Craig.
Right.
And Kat told me, I emailed her and told her we were doing a story for our newsletter.
Oh, perfect.
And so she updated me. She just sent me a text saying that they've now to date collected $74,000 US.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
So the money goes for cancer research.
Yeah.
And to fund a doctor who's been working on a specific type of research. And if you're interested in this, you must go to Kat's website. If you go to Felfs or type in the word FELF on Ravelry, it'll take you there and you'll find all about her work with him.
We'll put a link in the show notes below as well, and that'll make it easy for people to find information. Yeah.
So there's a pattern too. There's something called a family of felfs, and it's this little pattern here for the babies as well as bigger ones.
Yeah, so you can do any size. You can do any size you want. She tells you how to do that.
That's right. And this is $650 US on Ravelry. And like we say, the proceeds, except for I think PayPal fees or something, everything goes to this fund. So it's a great way of contributing and having a really nice, fun, easy knit project at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a single pattern for $650 US, and then there's the whole book. Which I think maybe $25.
Yeah, and it probably has like 30 patterns in it. You can do everything, like I say, from ballet slippers to cowboy boots. And I brought in my boot. This isn't the Felf pattern, but this was a Mobius pattern. Kat also teaches Mobius, and she teaches Mobius is kind of like a twist in your knitting, and it can be done by simply twisting your knitting and sewing it together, or it can be done magically with Kat's method. And she has a way for you to do it where it's all one piece. There's no sewing together, but magically your knitting ends up having a twist in it.
And you knit from the you knit on double point or on a circular needle, but you knit from the inside out.
Correct.
And you're kind of got a mirror image going around.
So your cast on is right in the middle of your circle, and every row you do gives you one row this way and one row this way out from the cast on. And then, if you put waste yarn in, you can start to open up your circle and create things like a boot. So here's my Mobius circle, my Mobius ring here. And we've opened up stitches and knit out from it a boot shape.
This is so crazy.
Isn't this crazy?
I love the fringe in there and everything. Yeah.
This was an early example. This is probably, this is back close to 10 years old.
Oh, yeah. This is back when we had the shop at downtown.
I use it to hold on my big knitting needles. But it's a fun way of felting and learning techniques at the same time, the Mobius.
And this is Mobius, too, these nesting bowls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is another one of Kat's patterns. If you have time, buy her Mobius book on Ravelry, too, because it will change your life if you've never knit this way.
Yeah, it's just very organic. It looks like you might find this outside in your garden somewhere. Yeah.
So this is all a circle that's knit with a twist in it. And then from that, you open it up. You put waste yarn into that circle and then pull the waste yarn out and start knitting a 3D shape out from those stitches, those live stitches. And this is what you get. These are interconnected bowls. There's 3 of them. And I use these on my dining room table to throw in things like coins and keys and different things. So it protects the table. But you can use them for really anything. They're just a whole lot of fun. She has a hat as well that is great for kids that has tentacles coming out of this. Anyways,
that's perfect.
Just our own brief little review of Kat Bordhi and the things that she's done with felting for you today. And I wish that you go take a look at her work because she's brilliant.
She is brilliant and fun. And she's got great videos on YouTube too. So if you need some help with a Mobius cast on, she's got a video for that.
Just the last plug here, and that's to follow her on Instagram too, because she's also an adventurer and a traveler. And she goes to Peru and Iceland and all over the place. But
I think she does tours as well, right? So you can join her if you want to in real life go on a trip with Kat Bordhi. That would be so much fun.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We got to go to the Iceland one with her and Jim. Kat, one day soon, because I'm getting older.
And tell us about this.
Okay, this is just another little example of a felted bowl or a vessel. These are so fun to make, you guys, and this is probably, I want to say probably Noro Curion, and just knit into a circle, and then you start to knit upwards.
So you could probably take like a hat pattern.
You could.
And just knit it into a bowl. Hey?
In fact, maybe that's what that was. That might have been a hat gone wrong. I just found it upstairs and thought, I'm bringing this down too.
Yeah, it's really cute.
So
show us. We brought out some yarn though that was Noro that we thought would be really fun for felting. I think it's Noro Tenon.
This one.
Yeah. This is Noro is a Japanese yarn, and all the Noro yarns stripe.
Yeah.
This one stripes in, a very similar colorway. And this one is wool and silk and alpaca. And we haven't felted with this one in particular, but I think it would be amazing.
But I have felted with wool and silk, and it's so much fun because the silk doesn't really felt.
Oh.
It kind of comes out onto the surface.
Oh.
Silk garden. I'm sure you've felted with that, haven't you?
But go ahead.
The little strands of silk fiber go on the outside, and it creates a beautiful texture to your work too.
Right.
I think it's really worth trying something like this.
Right.
Go into your stash and find out what you've got. If you have any of these Noro yarns, use them, or come and see us and we'll hook you up with something really, that would make a beautiful bowl. And then we teamed it with a couple of colors of Cascade 220. We carry this in our shop too, and this felts really well.
Yeah.
And it comes in beautiful heathered shades.
Yeah.
So we use this a lot with our Epic yarn when we want to pull in a shade that we don't have in our line.
Right. And we know that Epic and Cascade 220 will work nicely together. But if you were going to try out Norotenin and Cascade 220 together, we'd recommend that you start with a gauge swatch and just do a little striping in it, make a little square, put it through your washing machine, see how much it shrinks, and see if the two yarns shrink at a different rate.
Right.
Because
you
if
might
they
have
do,
to double strand this if you want to use it for the top of this.
Right. Or you might want to use, if one doesn't felt quite as much, you might want to use it for the base and use the one that felts a bit more for the top so that you get that natural kind of shaping. So just do a gauge swatch and see what it looks like. Then you can always sew your gauge swatch into the inside of a package, or if your felts wear through on the bottom, you can use your felted swatches as a bit of a patch for the bottom of your slippers. So
we're always telling people to swatch, aren't we? We're pretty bossy that way.
We are. well-meaning and bossy. What is it? A swatch in time saves 9? Something like that?
There you go. Well, and I like your idea about using the swatch as a pocket or something.
Yeah.
If you're sewing a bag, you could put a pocket on the inside and hold your cell phone or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can cut it and turn it into an applique for the outside.
Okay, what do you got there?
One more felted project. This is called the boho knot bag. And we made this one as a store sample because we wanted to show people what to do with this yarn. This is another Cascade yarn. This is Cascade Eco Wool. And Cascade came out with this other one called Peruvian Tones. And a friend of mine knit her brother a sweater in this. And not this color, but in this Peruvian Tones. And it's amazing. It just looks so beautiful. So in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I brought a pink and a red one.
Nice.
And one skein will make this bag. So you make it just a nice round bottom bag with one long handle and one short handle, and you slip the long handle through the short handle, and voila, you have a beautiful bag. Yeah.
That's great.
It felts really nicely.
These handles take a lot of wool. So many times when we've made bags, we've run out in the handle.
Yeah.
All mine are 2 different colors. So it's nice to know that you can make a bag out of one skein.
Yeah.
437 meters on here, 478 yards, so lots of yardage.
Yeah, and it's 250 grams, so it's half a pound of yarn in one ball.
It's great.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's about it on felting, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Try this out, you guys. Have some fun with it because, winter's long.
Yes.
You need things to do.
You do.
And start with a pair of these little guys. They're so cute.
And again, you don't need to have a lot of knitting experience to do these little felts.
Right.
You have to know how to knit. You have to know how to cast on. You have to know how to knit, and you have to know how to bind off.
And sew them together. That's about it.
And Kat has a beautiful video on sewing them together as well. So you've got help with that also.
So Cynthia, every podcast we talk about what we're working on.
Yeah.
Works in progress. What are you working on?
Well, I abandoned all my other works in progress to work on this crochet project. So we have this class called Crochet from a Chart. And it's been really popular with our customers, and some of our staff were saying, I want to take that too. So we arranged a staff workshop.
And we're doing it together.
We are, yeah. So show me how you're doing.
Okay. Well,
you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Okay. Well, I'm using Julie Aslan Nurtured. It's this one here. I have not had a chance to work with this yarn yet. And so I thought, if I'm going to crochet, I need to start with something new that I haven't tried before.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I only have 15 projects on the go.
Yep.
But I'm loving this. This is a lace weight sort of Rambouillet.
Rambouillet and Targhee, isn't it? Yeah, and it's all North American breeds, I believe. So let's see how you're doing.
So this is mine. Now,
Good. I mean, it's not blocked yet.
No, it's not
And it's
blocked.
not finished either.
It's not finished. But I'm telling you, I love crochet. It's so fast.
And the key to this for me, what makes this so enjoyable is that we're working from a chart.
I know.
And so instead of laboriously reading through all the instructions.
Although I have to tell you, I like those instructions too.
Do you?
To have both is really handy because I had to go back and kind of refer to them once in a while as well. But what's really good is having someone who's an expert like Heather.
Heather's
lead us
amazing
through this.
Yeah,
right?
She's obviously done. She's either crocheted forever, or she's done a lot of reading, which I suspect is probably the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just has a really good way of explaining how to differentiate one symbol from another, and lots of tips. So making us better crocheters. Okay, so I'm using an older flash mob yarn. This is a flash mob yarn from last year. This is flock fiber as well. Yes. Remember she did amethyst and peridot, so your birthday and mine, and then she did another one called Sisterhood. So I went into my stash and pulled this out, and again, not finished yet. I'm starting to work with the next color again, but it is addictive. I'm staying up late at night listening to an audiobook. And just crocheting.
I love the way that yours looks with the color work. So this section, this piece with the little X's and O's, I call it.
Yeah,
you did it in another color, and it just it stands right out. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Holly Yo and her hot shawl design for us, I just thought, why not? Because that's what she did on ours too. So there's another layer of patterning like this that'll come in here.
Call it X.
And then it needs to be blocked.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So we should probably mention the name of the pattern.
Right. This is called Over the Willamette. And I forget the name of the designer, but I will put a link to it in the show notes for sure. Okay. And we contacted her and said we'd like to do a class around this project, and just wanted to make sure that was okay with you. And so everybody who comes to the class, we purchase a copy of the pattern for them, and
we like to do
teach
that.
them how to knit crochet.
We do a lot of workshops where we'll find a design that we like on Ravelry and contact the designer, and then buy the patterns on Ravelry for the students, because it's just another great way of supporting all the amazing people that are in our industry.
Absolutely, and those designers put a lot of time and effort into those patterns, and so. We think it's fabulous if we've got 6 or 7 people who are all working from the same pattern.
Well, it's like having your own little stable of designers.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Look at Adrian Bilza, the one who did the fiddlehead mittens.
Yes. Adrienne Basilia, I think is her name. And Donna Smith, who does the bobble hat. We do a lot of that color work class as well.
And Donna Palicki with the...
Oh, yeah, with your capelet deja vu. Yeah.
So thank you out there, all those talented designers, for helping us, for designing such incredible patterns. Because as soon as we bring them into the store, people love them. And
it's true.
And so it helps us create workshops around them.
Yeah. Because Ravelry is just a fabulous resource, and
and I really want to thank those designers too who actually answer emails. Like if you have a question about your design, it's so nice to be able to get some help too.
Yeah.
With this shawl, I had to actually do it on bigger yarn.
This is amazing.
Do you like that?
I love this.
Well, this is how I figured out the pattern, because I got stuck when I got home.
Right.
So I picked up a chunkier yarn and a bigger crochet hook.
Is this Rowan Cocoon?
This is Cocoon. And I went to town, and I'm telling you, it's so helped to be able to pick a light color that you could actually see, and bigger stitches so you could see where you went into.
Right, yeah.
It made all the difference.
Right. So are you going to finish this one?
Well, I don't think so. I think this is kind of my swatch, but I don't know. Maybe
I think you should keep going.
I
think this would be really pretty.
We'll see if I have enough time.
Oh, come on. You got scads of time.
It's always about time. Yeah.
It is always about time. Yeah. And about taking classes. If you have the opportunity to take a class at your local yarn shop, I think, sometimes people wonder, they've asked me because we do a lot of classes, if we've had any, I don't know, like downturn in our classes because of online resources, YouTube, Craftsy, that kind of thing. And I say no, actually, I think we find more people are coming because the nice thing about a class is that you can ask questions.
Right.
And you can have a conversation with the instructor.
And you can have someone standing over your shoulder saying, hey, you know what? Try doing it this way, or try going into that hole instead of this hole. That's the whole thing that's missing, I think, on YouTube is the ability to interact with someone.
Yes.
Even Craftsy, is okay because they've got that side panel, but nothing beats a class. And, Cynthia and I, we have a budget. We might have said this before, but we have a budget that we use for our own personal development. And we go to 2 or 3 or 4 classes a year because we find that you just can't learn it all.
No.
As soon as you think that you know everything,
Yes.
someone will show you up.
Yes. Well, or tell you it's okay to do it differently. So I've always done color work under the impression that you could never strand beyond 3 stitches. And then we went and took classes with Mary Jane Mucklestone, and she said, oh no, you can go 5, you can go 6 stitches. Just make sure your floats are long enough. And
she opened up doors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a real challenge for me to drop that habit of, having that OCD control on my strands. But I've done it, and I feel liberated. And I could only do it because Mary Jane Mucklestone said it was okay.
But if we hadn't taken that class, we would have still been tight stranders.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of instructors, we have another fabulous instructor coming to Edmonton.
Right. Well, we were just talking,
Yarns.
right, about 2019 and what we were going to do.
Yeah. So we've got Lucy Neepy has just confirmed that she's going to come and spend some time with us the first weekend in July.
Yeah.
So we'll do about, 4 days of workshops with Lucy.
Fantastic.
And we're just going through her workshop offerings now. She's got such an incredible collection.
Oh, I know.
Of workshops.
I think there was 50 or so.
Something like that. Yeah. It'll be really hard to decide which ones to do.
Yeah.
But she's known for a lot of great patterns. This one is her carnival cap.
Right.
And this is done in Intarsia. So if you want to learn how to do Intarsia, she's your person.
She's the one. You should see all the beautiful Intarsia patterns she has. Oh, that's cute. So talk to us about how you did that. Did you have to have 8 bobbins hanging at the back of the work?
There's 18.
18.
So I don't think I actually knit this one, but
I thought you did.
I did one for each of my girls, so I've done a few of them. There's 9 panels. So there's 18 panels, 2 times 9. 18 panels, and you knit it on a straight needle, and she tells you how much yarn you need for each panel.
Oh my gosh!
So you can make your bobbins.
So she's done the math.
She does all the math. Yeah.
Is it knit from the bottom up or the top down? I forget.
Bottom up. Yeah. And she recommends that you use straight needles. So even though it's a hat, you use straight needles because Intarsia is done flat, and then you seam it up the back.
So you're knitting a row, purling a row.
Yep. And you're just changing the yarns as you go. So this is fabulous.
Brilliant. Yep. So and it's got lace in it as well. There's little holes along the side. Yep. It's got beading in it.
Optional beading. If you don't like beading, you don't have to have it.
Right, but Lucy's patterns contain so much learning in them.
Yeah.
Each one is like a little, weekend retreat on its own.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this is her equilateral hat. So this is an example of modular knitting. You knit each triangle and you join them together as you go, and it creates a beautiful hat. A beautiful hat.
She has that, and she also has a vest pattern. I love modular squares too. There's something about geometric triangles that I just love.
Yes. And then she's also designed a pattern for us.
Right.
So this one is called the Breakaway Beanie, and it's done in hat trick. And I think Pat knit this one. Somewhere back here we've got the actual one that Lucy did, because Lucy's has oh, you know what? This isn't a breakaway beanie at all. This is a hat for Rachel. Let me just find the breakaway beanie. Yeah. It's got I-cord. Here's one that I did out of Boston.
Right. So Lucy's hat starts at the top and it works its way down, which is a great way to design a hat pattern because you can make it for any size of head. So, no matter whether you want to knit for a baby or you want to knit for someone really who's got a bigger head in your family, it's all in the same pattern.
I loved working with Boston in this pattern because of the way the colors. It's kind of like a linen stitch on the bottom panel.
This part here on the crown.
Yeah. And then this is another one that Pat did for us, our sample knitter. And this is done in Vancouver with some semi-solids in there as well.
From Hat Trick, yeah.
And this one's a larger version, so I won't put it on my head. But it comes in different sizes.
So on this hat, you're learning how to increase. You're knitting stockinette and reverse stockinette in the top here.
Yeah.
Then you've got an I-cord.
Yeah.
You've got linen stitch, and you've got an I-cord bind off.
Yes.
So lots to learn on this.
Yeah.
On this hat.
The challenge, that we put out to the designers when we did this one was how to use like a striping / variegated yarn in interesting ways.
Right.
And Stephanie Pearl McPhee did a modular scarf, and Lucy did this hat, and again, the different techniques showcase the yarn in different ways.
So maybe we can have her teach one of these when she comes here.
That would be nice. Yeah.
She's coming here, by the way, because she's going to Yellowknife.
Yeah, she's doing a knitting tour of Yellowknife and taking people up to Yellowknife. They're going to stay at the Explorer Hotel.
And they're flying from Edmonton.
Yep. The trip includes the flights, the meals, everything. Yep.
Is there any seats left? Do you think we might be able to?
We might be able to. They're also staying at Blatchford Lake Lodge, which is a wonderful
Have you been
retreat.
there?
I have not.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's the place for people to go if you have, I don't know, if you can afford it. So
is it
having
on your
built,
bucket list?
It could be. It's Yellowknife and the surrounding area for the north is just gorgeous.
Cynthia used to live in Yellowknife and work in Yellowknife.
Yeah.
For how many years?
6 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no place like it on the planet, really. And they're going in July, which is a time of summer solstice. So you're going to have almost 24 hours of sunlight each day. So it's really cool.
Perfect.
But we should let people know that again, the breakaway beanie is a pattern that we have on Ravelry and on our web store. And stay tuned for those classes with Lucy. If you're, if you want to come up here and have a bit of a summer vacation and take classes with Lucy, let us know. We'll give you some recommendations for a wonderful hotel really close to the store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I think
we have one more thing to talk about.
We do.
We do. Flash mob.
Yes, and this flash mob is all about Zodiac. We came out with a new sort of theme for 2019. And the first one that we launched was Aquarius, which just happened to be your birth month.
Yes. And I'm wearing my charm from the flash mob along with this beautiful bracelet that you gave me. So
we're looking at having some bracelets made too. We're going to launch this month a needle gauge.
Right, with holes along the side for all the little charms that are that you've got on flash mob.
So for those of you who got one last month, every skein came with a charm made for us by Diane at Brick Bubble.
Yeah, and
it's a progress keeper. It's really cute, and you can never have enough of those. No. You know what I mean? If they're so nice to put into your work to measure the progress that you're, or to put up on your needle to measure a spot.
Yes,
or a place.
But or to attach to a bracelet or a necklace, because the claw will come, will attach itself to other things.
So your symbol Aquarius is what is
the water bearer?
The water bearer.
Yeah.
And this, do you have these skeins? Did you start anything with your yarn?
Not yet, but I will. Well, sometimes it takes a little while. Like I'm working with the flash mob from last fall. I think we put that one out, so it'll come. But I'm glad to have them. Very glad to have them.
So we've gotten comments from some of our customers that they wish they would have got in on this a little earlier.
Oh, yeah.
We ran out of one of the colors from Kim's. We came out with a speckle and a tone-on-tone last month. And we got, I think, more of the speckle than the tone-on-tone. And the tone-on-tone sold out first. Yeah. That hardly ever happens. Usually the speckle sells out.
I think actually that they sold out at the same time because most people bought pairs. But because we had more of the speckle, we do have some of that left over.
Right. Yeah.
And so, people were coming in on Friday and Saturday and saying, it's all gone? I should have ordered it sooner. And we're saying, yeah. But the nice thing about the speckle, because it's the speckle, is that it goes with so many other
that's true.
semi-solids. So, you can pair it up with something else and still have one of them.
Yeah. So did you have any suggestions for people? Did they pair them up with Sweet Georgia or?
Sweet Georgia, Ancient Arts, there's so many, Richard DeVries, there's so many semi-solids that go really nicely with that.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But this month's Flash Mob isn't a paired one, right?
Correct. This month is from our friend Christy at Sugar Tots.
Yes.
Christy's known for her Progress Keepers too. When you talk about Progress Keepers, I think of Christy right away because she makes the most beautiful ones under the label Sugar Tots. And they are out of Fimo, and she is a true artist.
Oh,
this girl.
Cupcakes, unicorns.
She can miniaturize anything.
Yes.
It's amazing. Now, Christy came in this week, and she also makes bags.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I know. I didn't know that either. She makes bags and she dyes yarn.
Oh.
So you guys got to go to her Etsy shop. It's Sugar Tots, and we'll probably put a link below.
Sure.
And have a look at everything that she does, because this girl, she's like sweet as candy.
So her assignment for this month?
Her assignment was Pisces.
Okay.
So that's the next. We're going in order. I know, Capricorn, you have to wait a long, long time. But hopefully one of these other months will inspire you, or you'll have someone who's really close to you and dear to you, and you want to buy their birth month. We have a lot of folks who are telling us they're going to collect every single one that are coming about because they're so pretty.
Well, they're limited edition, and they've got the little charm on them. Like there's a lot of
stuff going on.
Yeah.
So let's take a look
Let's do the reveal of the Flash Mob for February.
For Pisces.
Okay.
So Pisces is water.
I thought Pisces was fish.
Oh, sorry. Pisces is fish. You're right.
February is, Aquarius is water bearer.
Right. And Pisces is fish. I'm starting to learn all of these, but not quite fast enough. And so Christy said to me, well, when I thought of Pisces, she said, I thought of mermaids.
Oh, my family's going to love that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And then she sent me a picture, and my mermaid tail started to flip.
All right, let's see it.
All right. Ta-da!
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so excuse the box. Now, these don't have labels on them yet because they came fresh out of her dye pans. They're going to be labeled. And they're going to be attached with a mini. She's also ordered mini skeins for us that you can use for heels, toes, or for that lacy panel in your shawl.
Yes, wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, so these are going to come with a stripe or a mini of a beautiful navy shade that's going to go with all these speckles
The navy speckles in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
You probably can't see this, but we'll show you a close-up later.
Yeah.
But there's beautiful navy little speckles in here. And that's what she's using to dye the little mini skeins with.
Oh, man. This might just have to be another shawl.
Oh.
Right?
So we've shown this to a few people, and they've swooned.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
If you like pinks and blues and greens...
The colors in here, like, so they're pastel, but they're so saturated.
I know
that it's just amazing. Like it's just such a rich pastel color.
And this green shade, it's so pretty.
Yeah,
it's not really. I would say it's not a blue green. Like it's a different shade.
It's a green. Yeah, you're right. It's a green, but it's But it just goes perfectly with the teals and the purples in there. Maybe it's the yellow in it that's doing that.
So,
that's so
from the girl who knows mermaids comes Pisces.
Yes. All right.
Beautiful. All right.
I have to go home and start knitting.
I know.
That's just all there is to it.
I know. I just want to collect all the charms.
That too. This is really nice. So again, if you, I know it's hard. I've got a huge stash myself, but sometimes
can you ever have enough sock yarn?
Sometimes you just have to collect things.
Yeah, and
I think it would be a great idea to have two of these.
Yes.
Because then you could do something bigger. You
Yeah.
could have a larger shawl.
A shawl.
You'd have 2 mini skeins to put in a panel or a border. That would be lovely. And with 2 skeins, I could do a little sweater for Rachel.
Oh my God,
know?
you could.
Yeah.
A Holly Yo pattern.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. All right. Well, listen, so we've got some prizes that we want to give away too. So what would you like to tell people to do to be a winner for a prize this month?
This month? Well, I think, this month is all about felting. Tell us what your favorite felted pattern is. If you're an experienced felter and you've got any tips, we'd like to know that.
Yeah.
If you have a favorite pattern that you like to felt,
Put in a link to it.
yeah, share that with us.
Yeah.
And we're also open to, stories that you might have about your felting failures.
Do it. Yeah. So leave a comment in the comment section and we'll draw, I think we probably could do like 3 prizes easily. So 3 or more from the comments. We'll just do a random drawing from it. Yeah.
And stay tuned. Keep watching the video because we have prizes from last month
That's right.
that we're giving away too.
That's right. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Have a great month, everybody. Happy
Thanks so
felting.
much.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's
Yes. All right. Take
week. Happy
care.
belated birthday.
Thank you. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so Barb, I sat up last night and I made 3 slippers.
Oh my God.
Because I'm just so fascinated with felting. Like, it's just so much
see
fun.
these.
So this is Epic.
Okay.
And we're using our fuzzy foot sock pattern and we're knitting it in Epic. And I thought, because it's double stranded, this would be a great opportunity to try and maybe do something that's kind of gradient.
Right.
So I started with black, and then I mixed black and gray, and then
Oh,
gray and gray.
nice.
And I thought.
And so you're holding 2 strands in this all the way through, right?
That's right.
Oh,
that's
neat.
right.
Okay.
And sometimes people get a little antsy about double-stranded knitting,
Yeah.
but it's really easy.
Well, especially if you're going to felt them, right? Because
yeah.
you're going to shrink them anyways. If you have any, issues or boo-boos in your knitting, right, it'll all felt.
Right. So this is the smallest size in our fuzzy foot sock pattern.
Okay.
And I knit these 3 last night while watching TV. So this is literally
Now,
a
that
weekend
doesn't
project.
mean that everybody can do that. She's a fast
Everybody
knitter.
can do it. You knit these on 8mm double pointed needles.
Right.
It takes
fast.
so it took me about 2 hours per slipper. So if you wanted to do like a bigger adult pair, give yourself a weekend and you got it.
What'd you use up here?
This is a little bit of caribou.
Oh,
Do you remember
right.
Caribou
Yes.
by Haiku? So I thought I'd add a bit of novelty yarn to the top of this one
Yeah.
and just see what it looks like when it's
Cute.
felted.
And
Yeah.
it's so soft, too. It'll make a nice trim.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's next?
I brought them to work. I thought
Okay.
I would throw them in our portable washing machine.
Right? We have a wonder washer, you guys.
Yeah, and then we'll go ahead and film our podcast, and
Yeah.
when we're done, we'll take them out of the water and just see what they look like.
Okay.
So,
I'll tell everybody about the wonder washer while
Okay.
you're loading it up.
So I filled it up with hot water,
Yeah.
and now,
A little bit of dish soap.
mm-hmm.
Okay, just one. She just did one little squirt in there, just like as if you were doing dishes.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw these in,
Okay,
put on
put
the
the
lid.
lid. Okay, now this wonder washer we got this several years ago from the U.S. I don't think you can find them here in Canada, or if you can,
It's under a different name.
they're under a different name.
Yeah.
But these are so handy. Everybody should go out and buy one because you can felt in them amazingly.
Right, and it doesn't, any of the fiber that comes out of your product doesn't get in your washing machine.
Exactly. Like you don't want to wreck a $3,000 washing machine, right?
Although Epic doesn't leak that much wool. So we'll show you, when we dump the water out, we'll just show you how much wool is in there. So I'm going to set the timer on here to, I'm going to put it on for about 12 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll check it. There we go. And if you take the lid off, you can kind of see what's happening in here. It agitates it by swirling it in one direction, and then it'll stop, and it'll reverse direction. So that gives you the agitation you need for felting. So let's put the lid on and go and do some other stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and check it out. I think we're ready.
You think we're ready?
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unveil these slippers.
Okay. So I'm going to take off the lid
Here,
here.
I'll hold that for you.
Oh, thanks. And I'm just going to.
Is the water still hot, Cynthia?
Yeah, so I put it on for about 30 minutes.
Total.
Yeah. And I turned them halfway through. I turned them inside out because I like to kind of that way they don't get wrinkles in them when you felt them.
Oh, cool.
But look at that.
Look at that.
You can shape it a little bit when it's wet.
Yeah, so you could make it fit your foot a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Would you have a kid kind of like put this on their foot?
You could.
Yeah.
You could. But what I'm gonna do is rinse it out. I'm gonna rinse it in cold water.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take it home and shove it full of plastic bags and let it dry. And then and I'll take a picture. So look at the gradient there.
Isn't that something? You know, do we have a before and after picture? I think we do, don't we?
Well, kind of on the video.
On the
yes.
video.
Yeah.
So you can compare this to what it looked like before. But look at how it's totally felted. You can't even hardly see the stitches anymore.
Mm-hmm. There's the stripy one.
Oh, there's the stripy one with the fun fur up top.
It looks a little bit like a wet cat at the top, but when it dries, it will look better.
Yeah.
And they're just a lot thicker than they were before.
Boy, are they
well.
ever thick.
Yeah.
They feel like twice the thickness that they were.
Yes.
I don't know if they are or not, but that's how they feel.
And then if you've got any ends that didn't quite get woven in, they're going to
Like
stick
here?
out a little bit. So we'll just trim those off when they're dry.
And you can just trim that with a pair of scissors, right?
That's
you don't have to worry about anything unraveling here because the yarn is now all integrated into the felt.
And so the last thing I'm doing here is I dumped it into the sink and I put the plug in gently so that it will catch any wool that's in there.
So you'll show us how much fiber there is?
Yeah. So the bucket itself is empty. And you can see I've got a little bit of wool on my
Rubber gloves.
And that would be what ends up in your washing machine. If you do this in your washing machine. And then there's the wool that's come out of the tub.
It doesn't seem like a lot, but trust me, you don't want any of this in your machine if you can help it.
If you are washing something in your washing machine, we recommend that you put it inside a pillow protector.
Yes.
And then that keeps the loose fibers from getting into your washing machine filter.
And a pillow protector, like a zippered one, without holes. You know, sometimes you have those ones that are like a mesh bag.
Right.
Don't use those.
Not those, no.
Use a pillowcase with a zipper, and it'll hold all that fiber inside like a cotton one.
Right. It may take a little bit longer to felt, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll send you some pictures of the finished ones.